Just got the coffee on the blow. That's all you need after an epic night's boxing. George Groves defeated James DeGale last night. Became the new British and Commonwealth super middleweight champion. I was wrong. I predicted James DeGale would stop George Groves. For me, where it went wrong, in particular, was when I started seeing from the off that James DeGale was chasing George Groves on the front foot. Now, with James DeGale, the type of defence he has, sort of like that Philly shell defence, is pretty much made for counterpunching. The obvious example is Floyd Mayweather. A lot of the time you see Floyd Mayweather actually fighting on the back foot. He entices the opponent to come onto him, and then he counterpunches, takes the opportunity and punishes them. DeGale didn't do that at all. It was probably around the 4th or 5th round, it was around then, in the start of one round, where DeGale actually came out and tried to force George Groves to chase him. If he'd insisted on that, we would have had a very boring night, because for the next 30 seconds or so, nothing happened. And in fact, that whole round was sparse of any action, because it was clear that George Groves was insistent. His game plan was to make DeGale come to him. That's reduced the amount of counter-punching opportunities that DeGale had. He was not allowed to set himself in the way that gives him the better, more advantage. And I honestly believe that DeGale, the plan wasn't right, was it? It was wrong, and he should have fought more off the back foot rather than chasing Groves down. I think DeGale, both fighters still have weaknesses and flaws. I think DeGale needs to work on his punching accuracy, and also the way he punches, because he does slap an awful lot, and he just looks awkward when he's punching. He just doesn't look like he can connect very well. Only on sometimes he can, and it was close. I scored it. I had it pretty much the same as I think Jim Watt on the Sky team had it, 115, 114 to DeGale by a point. I had it to DeGale by a point, but it was that close. It could have been a draw. It could have gone either way. So that's the way it goes sometimes. I think there's a possibility of a rematch, since Frank Warren's already calling for one. And I'd probably pick DeGale for the rematch. Perhaps if he takes this a bit more seriously, trains properly this time, or gets the proper game plan in position. I don't know what the situation is going to be with Jim McDonald, his trainer, but they certainly need to reanalyse how he would go and approach a fight like that again. So I do feel that DeGale, had he fought, like I'm saying, more on the back foot and taking counter-punching opportunities and forced Groves to come to him somehow, then I feel that he would have beaten Groves, and with a good possibility of a stoppage. Because there were times towards the latter rounds where I thought DeGale, got through a couple of times, but then he also got hurt himself. So full credit to George Groves. I mean, he carried out the game plan. His speed. I was really impressed with George Groves' speed last night. Way faster than DeGale, it seemed. Better reflexes, decent defense, all-round punching accuracy was better. I just thought he made the most of what he had, more than DeGale did, and whereas DeGale has the technical ability, Groves just had the game plan, and used the good ability he does have, the physical attributes to do it. So I got that one wrong. Well done to anyone who picked Groves for that fight. And let's see what happens with that in the future. Just a quick one on Nathan Cleverly. I didn't do a prediction for this fight. I did a prediction for the two other fights he was supposed to have against Jürgen Brähmer and then Tony Bellew. But he wasn't that impressive. He does look quite ferocious, Nathan Cleverly, when he gets on the attack. He seems to have quite good power. He threw some good body punches, but he did get caught. I think it was that third round, wasn't it? Or some, I think it was the third round. He got caught by the Polish guy, and that just backs up what I was saying in my predictions of his other fights. He gets caught way too much. Doesn't use his physical, his attributes physically, his length, his reach, his height. He doesn't use any of that. And I'll just throw a name out there, Paul Williams. Commented to some people before that if he carries on doing that and getting tagged, he may. I think he will go the same way that Paul Williams did, or has gone, and that is get stopped by better fighters who can throw more powerful punches and can counter extremely well. So Nathan Cleverly needs a lot of work for me. I'm concerned if he goes on to fight people like Tavoris Cloud, Bernard Hopkins. You know, if he's going to fight people who are world class level, he's going to get caught. And you know, I really wanted to work on that and start using his attributes better in a better to his advantage, basically. Chad Dawson defeated Adrian Diaconou by unanimous decision. I didn't see that fight, but that's what I predicted. I was right on that one. I think Chad Dawson, he looks like he's going to fight Bernard Hopkins. That's a really intriguing fight. So that's one to think about. Light heavyweight's getting quite exciting now. It's heating up, and Dawson's right up there, I feel. So well done to him. Roy Jones Jr., please retire. Please don't fight on. Please let this be the end. That was I didn't watch the fight, but I saw the eventual KO. It was not pleasant. I think Lebedev, you didn't have to throw that last punch, mate. It was clear that Jones was out of there, and there was no need for that punch. I know you're trying to win the fight. It was over, clearly. You know, that was like, he was on his way down anyway. So there's no need for that final punch. But please, Roy Jones, call it a day, mate. You know, all-time great in your prime. But you're going to get seriously worse and worse if you carry on fighting. I got that one correct. Didn't predict the correct round. I think I predicted something like the 7th, but it was the 10th. He got knocked out in. But that's just a guess, the round. I'm happy with predicting a stoppage and getting a stoppage. Then, this was my most eagerly anticipated upcoming fight. Bernard Hopkins defeated Jean Pascal to become the oldest world title holder ever in the history of the sport, 46 years of age. I got this one right as well. Predicted that Bernard Hopkins would win by decision, and once again he schooled the younger fighter. Jean Pascal, I thought, did well for the early rounds, but then he just started getting away from him. I don't think there was some commentary about dirty tactics from Hopkins, but I thought it was equally dirty from Pascal. You know, Hopkins, I didn't see. I think it was worse from Pascal. I thought Pascal was holding more. I thought he was hitting around the back of the head more. And then the ref, you know, English ref, was warning Hopkins for holding Pascal in the headlock when Pascal is he's bending right down. You know, I thought that was wrong. I thought he was cautioning Hopkins way more than Pascal for some reason. But yeah, it just goes to show experience. Don't underestimate how difficult it is to fight such an awkward fighter like as Bernard Hopkins, especially if you're Jean Pascal and you're extremely one-dimensional, and you rely on physical power and no boxing skill. Pascal needs to go away and work on having more than one dimension to his fighting. You can't just rely on trying to knock somebody out and getting dodgy decisions go your way because you're fighting in your home country or adopted country. This is what happens. You end up getting rematches, and then they get some neutral judges, and they score the fight as it's supposed to be scored. So in my opinion, he's been beaten twice by Bernard Hopkins. The first fight should never have gone his way. Um, Although it was close, the first fight was quite pretty close, and I think it was the knockdowns that swayed it. But I thought that could have been a draw. Um, Although I did have it for Hopkins. Um, so basically, we just it's these type of moments you have to savor, and that was a great night of boxing. I thought I was really happy in particular for Bernard Hopkins because I'm a fan of Bernard's, and I just like to see him continue now and make some really good fights. He's talking about fighting up until he's 50, but we'll see how that goes. He's got some really tough opponents coming up if he's going to keep fighting all these people he's on about. Um, so yeah, a great night of boxing. Let's hope for more to come, and look forward to future fights. So thank you for watching. This is BoxPred, and I'm out.